but I just didn't like that song. Like I couldn't believe that those guys wrote it. Like it wasn't up to their standards.
Right? Of course.
So, and Ed agreed. I mean, I said, Ed, this song, it's not good, man. This isn't good enough to be a Van Halen song. And he said, I agree.
Yeah.
He goes, can you rewrite it? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
I said, I'm going to need to step away from it for a while to forget this version and then take a whole new approach to it, which is what I did.
Which is, I love It's the Right Time. I think that would have been a hit. Now, I love it. I listened to it. It's in my playlist. Now, wanted to ask you, how come it was removed from iTunes?
Something with the publishing. I mean, Ed told me that I could do whatever I want. He said, Mitch, just do whatever you want, anything to help. I mean, he's like, I can't really play on your stuff, but go ahead and do whatever you want to do. You know, he said, I want to see you succeed. I mean, he loaned me money for a record, to finish a record.
That's amazing.
He was in my corner, you know?
That's cool.
So I was shocked that they, stomped on it. But I think it's the publisher. I don't think that had anything to do with Ed. I think the publisher did that.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. So now it's interesting. The timeline between you and Gary seems to keep going back and forth. He's writing with them. You're getting asked to be in the band. Then Gary had said he was watching the MTV thing from Ed's guest house. I mean, it's really odd. Do you think they were playing both sides of the fence?
Well, if what Gary says is true, obviously.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that I was there first. I know that.
Sure, that's for sure, yeah. And you also said that they were writing with him, through email, or what were they doing before he got there?
This I don't know for a fact.
Okay.
But I do know that he mentioned Gary because Ray said, Ray manages Gary from Extreme.
Right.
And we were considering him, but we're not anymore. You're in the band.
Yeah.
So kind of that was that. And even Valerie said to me, this guy Gary, he's a little bit more well-known than you, but she said, we love the fact that you're lesser known. It's cool.
It's a good thing, yeah.
Yeah, that's she said that.
Sure.
She was so nice to me.
Yeah, she's sweet.
So nice.
She's sweet. So now, Rolling Stone reached out to Ray Daniels during the story, and he said that he didn't realize you were left with the impression that you had the gig. What was your reaction to that?
Okay. I told you about the moment, and it's in the Lost Boy video. Ed came into the control room to tell me I was in the band.
Of course, yeah.
Oh, okay, well, I did what I failed to mention, or maybe I did mention and forgot.
Yeah.
But Ed opens the door and he starts off, we just had a meeting.
Right.
And blah, 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 blah. And I told you the rest.
Yeah.
Okay. We is him and Ray.
Oh, really? Oh, so Ray
really?
It wasn't the band when he says
I thought he said the band.
I don't know who from the band was there. I didn't see anybody from the band around that time. And I know Ray was there. Ray flew in the night before.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Of course, yeah. I mean, that's wild.
So you're thinking that Ray knew. But it sounds like
Ray told me I was going to be the new singer in Van Halen.
He told you that explicitly.
He told me that over the phone before I even talked to Ed.
Oh, before you even talked to Ed.
He said, you are going to be the next singer in Van Halen. And he goes, even if you don't, I'm going to manage you and you're going to be a huge star.
Wow.
And I quote.
Yeah. Wow.
But he never managed you, though, right?
No, he never did. Because guess why? I already had a manager.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Now, when you heard Gary was in, did you feel, I mean, Gary's a great singer. We're not taking that away from him. He's fantastic. And he's a great performer. But did you feel he would fit?
I understood why Ed might like the sound of his voice.
Right, sure.
Because he has got more Dave in him than I do.
Okay.
He's got a lower voice than me.
Right, that's true.
He's more like a second tenor. So, I mean, but for me, I was like, whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I had moved on already. I was other stuff. And I was happy for Ed because Ed never gave me any reason to not be happy for him,
Right.
Like, it was all cool. I was cool with it. I was, I wish them well. And, I hope that they came up with something cool.
Sure. Now, you went to see them when they came to Nashville. What was the vibe like between you before the show? Was everything comfortable or was it awkward?
It was incredibly comfortable. I hadn't seen Ed in years. He grabbed me, hugged me, kissed me on the cheek like he does. And
right.
He could not have been more gracious and more nice.
Sure.
I met him at the hotel. I had a guitar player buddy of mine, with me that I took with me. And we followed them to the venue, and we hung out with them all day backstage. And if I tell you the amount of times that Ed and Al asked me if I was okay and if I needed anything.
Wow.
Like, can I get you a beer? Can I get you a Coke? Can I get you a drink? You want a water? Like I was in their home.
Wow.
Kind of thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
I mean, really. I mean, I'm just telling you guys the little facts.
Sure. No, yeah.
I think are interesting.
They are interesting.
You don't hear that. I mean, they were really, really cordial, hospitable, nice. It was awesome, Hank.
Right.
Awesome.
And when you were at 5150 and he played you the Roth tunes, in the story you said you weren't crazy about them. How come? Yeah. What was your vibe like? You just didn't feel they clicked, or?
Yeah, well, that was the first thing so I pull up and Ed opens the door. It was in a limo, and I get out and I have my sunglasses on, and he's like, "Hey," and he goes, "I got to see your eyes." And he pulls my sunglasses. He reaches up and pulls my sunglasses down and looks into my eyes, and then he puts the sunglasses back up and goes, "Cool." And sort of like gives me a sort of a half hug, whatever. And
that's funny.
I shake the other guy. The guys are lined up, like waiting outside. So I shake their hands, and they're like, "Hey, man, welcome." And everybody was cool. The vibe was great.
Right.
And then we went into 5150, and they had just, I think, listening to it. And he goes, "Hey, you want to hear the new stuff with Roth?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And so he, hit play, and it was on about 150 million decibels.
Right.
And my pant legs were literally shaking. Yeah. And I thought, that's not what I expected.
Right. Yeah.
It was that humans being whatever.
Well, no, that's the Sammy song. He did.
That was the Sammy song.
He did Me Wise Magic, and Can't Get This Stuff No More. Yeah.
That was it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my memory's a bit foggy sometimes.
That's okay.
Yeah, so it was definitely the Dave song. It wasn't the
Right.
Sammy song. So I guess Me Wise Magic was the name of it.
Right.
Yeah, I just didn't think it was really special.
Right.
I thought, okay, I can beat that. Thinking,
Sure.
Not to be
Sammy
cocky,
thought
but
the same thing.
It's true.
And Sam is a great writer. And
Sam
took a lot of Ed's guitar stuff and turned it into some great songs, man.
He did now, and that's something that you did, I thought, with It's the Right Time. I think you almost had a similar vibe to Sam in that sense that you could take some pieces, put it together, and make a song out of it. And that is a lot what Sam said he used to do with Ed. Like, he'd pick up on little pieces, riffs and things, and they would form a song around it, which is incredible. So now you also, in the article, you described Ed's energy about the whole Roth MTV thing as strange and weird. Do you think it was because he was nervous about he didn't know what direction his band was headed in?
Not that. It seemed like there was something slightly untoward going on with that, and it made him uncomfortable, and he kept bringing it up, and I couldn't understand why he kept bringing it up. And I think maybe he was trying to tell me they're making us do it with Dave.
Right, yeah.
But he never quite got it out.
Okay.
I mean, that to me seems like the most natural conclusion for that, because why would he keep bringing it up? And then every time he'd bring it up, he would tell it a little bit different. And I was thinking to myself, why do you feel even the need to tell me this stuff? Like, I was happy that he respected me and he wanted to tell me about it, but it really had nothing to do with me.
Right. Right.
So I didn't understand why he kept bringing it up, but whatever. I mean, it was something.
Mitch, I see the common theme here is like a lack of communication.
Yeah.
Or a lack of adequate communication. Or like almost like a passive aggressive path. Communication. Like a lot of the stories you tell seem to like end this way when it comes to talking to Ed of the band, right?
Yeah, you're kind of left like with your hands up, like I don't know.
Right.
It's like I only know the facts that I know, and I'm telling you all of those, but I don't know.
It's interesting though. Now, if you heard the Roth stuff, you didn't think it was all that great, and then when you saw the MTV thing, it was not exactly a fantastic appearance. It was awkward. It was strange. Roth even looked a little odd. all of that was strange. And like you said, when you heard the Roth stuff, you said, oh, I could beat that. And I think that you have the songwriting skills and the vocal abilities to do so. So what made you not want to just be like, let's just do this? Like why didn't you didn't want to like try to do it? Because it's not like they played you Panama and Hot for Teacher, and these were the new, hot Roth songs, and they came out with Roth and performed. I mean, they kind of had like this breakdown in the middle of America. Like, what made you kind of back away?
Well, two reasons. So let's back up to Ed playing me the music.
Right.
Okay.
Yep.
So I had zero connection with anything he wanted to work on.
Sure, you're right.
You can only do what, like, I'm a prolific writer, like I said, and I can write a lot of different things, and I love music, and I'm a natural songwriter. It comes to me very easily and naturally. But if it doesn't, then I know really all too well, you can't force it. I mean, there's sometimes when you feel a little clunky about, oh, I can't quite get this lyric, and then you get it or whatever. But that's different than hearing music that is completely uninspiring to you. I mean,
that's true.
When you're a pure musical being like I am, you can't, and and I think he got that. He got that. He saw it.
So now when Van Halen 3 came out, did you go buy it? How did you hear it? Like, and no. What did you hear when you heard it?
I saw the video. They put out a video.
Without You?
Okay, I didn't remember, the first single, I guess.
That Without You, yeah.
Yeah, and I thought, I wasn't really feeling that. Didn't hit me like, yes, Van Halen.
Right, right.
Like, I was just like, it's not, I don't know, it's not my Van Halen or whatever,
Right.
I just couldn't, I didn't, like when Sammy's Van Halen came out, I dug it immediately.
Right, okay.
Even though I love the Dave years. That's definitely my Van Halen.
Right, of course.
When the second version came out, I got it. Like, right. I was like, oh, I get this, because it was songs. It was good songs,
Right.
And Ed seemed to have real fire and passion in his playing on that record. And
sure.
You could just hear that they were having a good time, and it was really magical what they did.
Sure.
So, and that continued on for years, but I didn't really want to hear the rest of it, because honestly, it was going to be maybe a little depressing to me.
Sure.
And so I didn't seek it out. I was back home in North Dakota, and an old dear friend of mine, a guy by the name of Todd Zeller, who had played bass in my band in Europe, and he's toured with me, and great musician that I grew up with in my hometown in North Dakota. We were in his studio. I was there, I think visiting. I was home, visiting at the lake house or something in Minnesota, and he forced me to sit down and listen to the record.
Wow.
He, as my friend, like, he's like, look, you got to at least like listen to this. And I was like, I do? And he goes, yes. So I did. I sat there and I listened to it, and I just didn't, the same reaction. I just, like, I wasn't, nothing reached out and grabbed.
Did you recognize anything?
Yeah, like vaguely, yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
But the stuff he played me was a one listen, and it was a whole bunch of songs back to back.
Right.
So
now, getting back to the show at Nashville, after the show, in the article, you mentioned that Ed was kind of upset. Why would he be upset?
He was not happy with the crowd reaction.
Okay.
He was not happy with how Gary was being treated. He was not happy that Gary wasn't being accepted. He made a record that people were really mixed about. People didn't really dig it that much. So that was frustrating for him, because it's probably the first time that's ever happened to him.
Sure.
And then he's playing the tour, and he's watching the crowd, and the crowd aren't doing their normal, like, just going ape shit over the band.
Right.
Because they're confused by Gary or whatever. Just the energy on stage was different or whatever. And I could kind of see that. I was actually on the stage watching the show, so I could kind of see that. But I still dug it. I still had a blast.
Yeah.
And
sure.
It was Van Halen. It was still Van Halen.
Yeah, of course.
And so afterwards, he was cussing, and he was upset because he was thinking this isn't working, I think.
Was it early on in the tour or late in the tour or halfway through?
That would be a question that you should ask yourself, since you guys are the nerds that know the timestamp.
Okay, you're right. All right, we will go digging.
And I mean that in the most.
Of course.
when was the Nashville show, Mitch? When did you see them?
I don't know.
Was it cold out, Mitch?
No, it was summer. It was summer. I know that.
It was summer. Okay, so you're like, it's probably like midway through the tour. That's interesting. So now, was Gary upset, or how is Gary's vibe?
Gary could not have been nicer, dudes. Gary was like super sweet, hugging me, asking me how I was, asking me if he can get me any